everybody! Today we are going to make a pecan pie with honeyed mascarpone. So although there are ways of doing this quicker, I am going to be making an almond pastry base today. So I have my ingredients here, but you of course can always buy your pastry casing from the shops, which is a life hack like no other. So for today, you will be needing, if you're going to make your pastry, you will be needing 110 grams of plain flour, 50 grams of caster sugar, 50 grams of ground almonds, 75 grams of butter. Now, it's important when you're making any pastry that you have cold butter when you're making it, okay? And I'm going to need half the juice of, well, half a lemon for the juice, okay? So let's get cooking, shall we? So if you can see, I have mixed in this food processing bowl here my ground almonds, my sugar and my flour together. Once I've processed it for a little bit, I am then going to add my 75 grams of butter, which I have cubed to make it quicker. And then, once it resembles breadcrumbs, this is where I make my confession, guys. I forgot to tell you that you needed a yolk of an egg for the making of this pastry. I'm sorry. And I have taken my yolk of an egg and I've added it to my lemon juice, and I'm just going to mix it up, ready for when I pour it into my dough, okay? So see you soon, guys. So I'm going to start pulsing now. And the reason why I'm pulsing this is so that all of it flies upwards, and I want it to, gravity to pull it all back down again before I pulse it again to make sure I get it mixed really well. Nice and well. So now I'm going to add my butter. There we go. So now I'm going to pulse my butter. It's got to resemble breadcrumbs. So now I am going to add my lemon juice. I've taken the lid off the top. This is going to be one hell of a thing. I've done it, I haven't got it all over myself. I'm dead proud of myself for that. Right, pour that on. Some more. So I'm going to take my lid off now. I'm going to take my blades out. Now, just a little bit crucial. I'm hoping that let's get it all off the blades. So without touching it, and I'm going to dump the blades in this bowl here. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to take out my dough mixture out, and I'm going to gather it together and make sure that all of it is coming out the bottom of this, because we don't want to leave any yummy dough behind.
You don't have to have it upside down, just lift it out with your fingers.
Good idea, Mum. There we go. Then I'm going to gather it all together. I'm going to make it into a little bowl. And then I am going to wrap it in cling film and chill it for an hour in the fridge, okay? Here we go. doughy and yummy and gooey.
It's recording.
So I have had my pastry in the fridge for about an hour now. Now I am getting my pastry tray all larded up. I have already larded up this section of the pastry tray, and now I'm going to lard up this section of the pastry tray. I've used my fingers and just a packet of lard, rubbed it all over my fingers, and I'm getting incredibly messy, guys. This is the fun aspect of making a pastry. And what I am now going to do is I have taken 50% sugar and 50% plain flour in this bowl, and I'm just going to take my pastry tray, or part of a section of the pastry tray, and I'm just going to drizzle this all over the sides of my pastry dish. Sorry, thank you, Mum.
It's easier if you do it this way.
As you can see,
I'll put a bit more on.
I am making an almighty mess with this. So I'm just going to put it on, and then I'm going to roll it round, roll it round, roll it round, roll it round, and then do it again. And then I'm just going to roll that round, roll that round, roll that round, and do it again. And I'm doing it all over the bottom section of my pastry dish, just to ensure that I get it all on my pastry dish. There we go, right, so that it goes into the nooks and corners and crannies and bits and pieces.
You've actually gone all the way around now, but just give it a little rotate.
Okay, I'm going to give this another little rotate. Thanks, Mum.
And then just give it a tap on its sides as you hold it, that's it. And then just
put it down. And then I presume...
Oh, you've got plenty on the bottom, just...
Oh, okay.
Just pick up the bottom and put it
pick up
into
the bottom and put it into my pastry dish, like so. Then I'm just gonna rub it round for a bit. Get it covered all over, right into the nooks and the crannies.
And then we'll just, basically, we'll tip it out into the sink.
Yeah, pretty much.
Here we go.
So here is the pastry case, done and dusted. I have dusted it off in the sink. There it is, if all of you can see it. Obviously not all of you will do. I'm just going to put that to the side for now. And here is my dough. And I am going to now unwrap it, and I am going to roll it out, ready to be placed into the pastry case. I'm just going to get my plain flour in. There we go. Now, when you roll out pastry, it's important, don't worry, my surface is clean, to just get it all covered in flour to stop the stickiness of the pastry. There we go. I'm hoping that's enough. I'm then going to unwrap it fully. This is in a nice cool ball. It's nice and cold out. Thanks, Mum. And now what I'm going to do, so I haven't done this in quite a while, so I'm going to then squash it with my fingers to start with. Okay, so that I can then use my rolling pin and roll over the surface, because it's important to have a more or less even surface to your pastry so that it cooks at the same time when you have it in the oven. So now I'm going to start at the middle, I'm going to push outwards. So when you're doing things like this, always start from the middle and push outwards. Obviously my mum is here to support me in case I absolutely muck this up.
Which might be a little bit too cold.
Oh,
Maybe we'll leave it for 5 minutes and do it again.
yeah. So it was incredibly messy, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. It was messy, it took a while, but here it is, nice in our baking tray. I'm hoping that you can see that. Well, baking tray. So I am now going to prick it, because you have to prick it all over the bottom. Okay. Now we're not upset about it kind of coming over the sides, because once it's in the oven, it will go down. And now once you've pricked it, what we have to do is we either put it in the fridge for 2 hours or we put it in the freezer for 30 minutes. Now I am going to do the latter. It saves a lot of time. And then I am going to turn on my oven to 200 degrees so that it's nice and ready and warm for when I actually bake this pastry. So whilst my pastry case is in the freezer, I thought I'd make a start on the innards of our pecan pie / tart. So here you will need 50 grams of dark soft brown sugar beaten with 3 eggs, okay? You will need 4 tablespoons of clear honey. You will need 1 lemon, the zest and the juice of it. You will need 110 grams of, and it's important, melted butter. We are going to melt this before we add it. You will need 175 grams of pecans. Now here I have my bowl of pecans, but I've taken about a quarter of it for decoration. So I've taken the prettiest ones out for decoration, and in the end of the day we are going to chop these up, okay? So I'm going to start by beating my eggs and my sugar together. See you soon. So now that it has been in the freezer for 30 minutes, I'm going to do what is referred to as baking blind. This, don't take it personally guys, this is where you bake your pastry without a filling. Now the thing is if we didn't do that, it wouldn't be cooked ready for the filling. So I'm just going to take this tin foil and I'm going to pass it down gently into the middle of my pastry, okay? Now what you need to do is you need something to put in as the filling, so the
baking beans.
Yeah. I have my mum's ceramic baking beans. However, you don't need fancy ceramic baking beans to do this. You can just take any pulses you like or some lentils and put that in your pastry.
As long as they're dry.
As long as they're dry, and you don't use them or cook them again, obviously. You can put them aside and use them as many times as you need to. So I'm just going to tip this and pull a load of it out and put it all the way around the sides. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into my oven for 15 minutes, wasn't it, Mum?
Yeah.
15 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. So see you soon, guys. So right now I am cutting up my pecans. Now, in order to make sure they don't fly off the table, I put the front part of my knife down and then I apply the pressure gradually backwards onto the handle, or the hand that is holding the handle. And then I brush them all together again in a big pile, just to make sure that I get them in the smallest of pieces I possibly can. Because otherwise, my guide dog here, Nina, will be eating all the leftovers that have flown from my kitchen surface, worktop, onto the floor. Obviously, it's very unusual for me to have her here, but yes, there we go. So, pastry's been in for 15 minutes and I'm just going to take it out and remove the baking blind balls. Here we go. This might go wrong, guys, so wish me luck. I'm going to try and get it from the bottom. Oh. This is so difficult. I'm so nervy. Sorry, I'm getting a grip with it. Here's up for sex. Oh, got it, guys! magic of this foil, and I'm gonna try and shovel it up and just put it into oh, this is all going wrong. And then I'm gonna make it into a triangle this time, do something a bit smarter with myself and put it into there. Oh, into that colander. Right, okay. So now I am gonna cover the bottom surface of it in some egg. And the reason why I'm going to do that, guys, is to make sure that I seal the bottom so that none of the liquid can go underneath my pastry and make it look terribly unprofessional. So once I've done that, I am then going to put it back in the oven for 5 minutes. So see you soon, guys, okay? So we've had 5 minutes and I'm going to take it out. There we go. There we go. Got it. I'm going to put it on the cooling mat. Just close this. Handle. Right, I'm going to let this cool now, and I'm going to turn my oven down to 170 degrees when I put my filling into my pan. Don't worry about all of the scratchy edges, the burnt edges, because what we're going to do is when we've got the filling in and it's fully cooked, we're just going to cut those off to make it look beautiful, okay? So, 170. So, in order to make sure that my pastry is okay and I don't keep knocking the edges, I've decided to make it easier for myself. I have put my pastry on this big baking tray, making it a lot easier to pick up, put in and put out. What I've also done is I've taken our chopped pecans and I put it all in the middle of my pie, ready for the filling to be poured in, which I'm going to make in the next couple of seconds. I'm going to finish off. And I've got my decoration just here, ready for it. So, as you may be able to see, I have beaten my eggs and my sugar together. I am now going to add the melted butter and the honey. Now, I have melted both the 4 tablespoons of clear honey with my butter in the microwave. There we go. And I'm just going to pour that in. Sorry about the noise. And we are now going to also add in our lemon zest. Make sure that's fully in. Oh, sorry.
Just lift it a little higher, it'll stay there.
Oh, there we go. And my lemon juice. There we go. I was so nervous at breaking this, you know. I'm just going to pop it down and then I'm just going to turn it on. Oh. Together, and now I'm just going to pour it into my pie so that it spreads from the middle outwards into all of the nooks and crannies of my pie. There we go, Mum.
And stop. It's just starting to, it's just a little bit more than I had the capacity for, but it's fine.
To decorate, floating pecans on the top. The mascarpone cheese is simply mascarpone cheese mixed with 1 teaspoon of honey. And voila, the finished product ready to send into the dining room.